Hey, what's up guys, Chris here, back in Anthem, and today what I'm going to bring you all is a brand new updated guide for my full Cataclysm event route. This is a 10 million plus route, mind you, so even this is a rather conservative number, and because we have so many events right now in the map, you're going to be able to pull in much more than that, assuming of course that you have a semi-decent competent team, as well as playing on Grandmaster 3. So let's jump right in with everything you need to know, and also don't forget to leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoy this. Now before moving on, you need to know that the route has changed slightly, so the order of the events is going to be slightly different compared to how I did it previously, and the way I'm going to show it to you right now is going to be way more optimal than ever before. So the new route still starts with the Eye of Magnus event leading into the Britheim event, but instead of the Forge being the third one in the middle of the map, instead in the new route what you'll want to do is to actually head up northeast on the top right corner of the map in the Crucible of Asteroid event right next to Vera's room. It's very important to do this because this is a much faster route than having to go back to this event at a later date, all the way back to the lake, so you can go into the middle of the map into the Forge region. From this point on it's actually very easy, and you will want to take the castle event first and then simply head up north with the other events, including of course Diana's Landing, and later on, and the last one, the Sea of Takaro, which was added quite recently. And it goes without saying that throughout these events you should always strive to kill the Valkyries no matter what, and after and only after finishing all of these events, all of the 7 arenas in the game, and getting the plus 16 multiplier, only then move on to doing the bonus stuff such as the sphere caches, the vault, grab it king layer, the bombs, time runes, and everything else in between, including of course the monsters in the tunnels and on the beach side. So keep this in mind, this is the route and it's very important to do this, otherwise you're not going to get the maximum score possible. Anyway, let's go over with a recent run that I made on Grandmaster 3 with complete strangers. In fact, 99% of the matchups that I had in the past month or so were all with complete strangers, and even though some of them screwed up, I already knew the events, so I could correct any of their mistakes, or I could make it so that my team could progress further. So starting things off with the Eye of Magnus event, the ideal setup over here is to have 2 party members actually activating the rod, one clockwise, the other one counterclockwise, so they don't spend too much on doing it, and the rest of the party members should just take down as many enemies as possible in the few seconds that they have for those extra points. If you do this within like 45 seconds or 1 minute, the Valkyrie will spawn, and this is exactly what you'll want to do because she gives in way more points than even staying 10 minutes and fighting with the enemies over there. So take her down, burn all your ultimates if you have to, just take her down before the 16-minute mark, or maybe 15 and a half. From this point, you're going to want to head to the Britheim event, as I was saying, and here I was playing with a Colossus, so what I did is I helped my team members to pick up the echoes. So what I did is I always made sure to go on pressure plates and indicate to my party members that they should go ahead and pick up the echoes, and I did so for most, if not all, of the pressure plates, but I believe somebody else was helping me in there as well. If you're playing with a Storm or an Interceptor, you can definitely solo these, but it's recommended here for 2 players to deal with the echoes and have the rest of the party members deal with the enemies. Again, for the extra points, for the extra loot drops, and so that the echoes get placed faster by the 2 members of the party that are using them. As always, once that's done, take all of the 5 echoes, put them back into their respective devices to expose the crystal, but before doing that, take down the 5th and final echo from the device and put it back in to again summon the Valkyrie. Once that's done, burn her as fast as possible without any mercy, and then go in and destroy the crystal as well as grabbing the loot chest. Now from this point on is where you will want to head up northeast to the Crucible of Asteroid event, and the way you do this is by simply exiting the Britheim event and then heading straight up north as soon as you exit that hallway or that tunnel, and it's really hard to miss that teleport over there. You're probably going to even see some players already heading to it. So go in, this will bring you through the tunnels very close to the event, and just head up all the way up until you see the event itself. Now, most of the party mates I'm grouped with always like engaging in fighting with the enemies, so what I prefer doing is simply head up to the tunnel over there with the only echo being available, grab it up and bring it to the left side of the arena to have that huge instability wall over there being brought down. So I activate the laser, go in and grab the three echoes over there. If there's anybody coming in to help me, that is nice, but I'm going to show you a really cool trick on how to solo this using one single echo. In this case, one of the party members was kind enough to come in and help me with the gate, so I had it inside with like only a bunch of echoes, nowhere near enough to activate all 4 of the plates. So with one single echo, go in on any of these pressure plates and activate their respective echo devices. Once you do that, you can see that it's now activated, the pressure plate is activated, so take back the echo out of the device itself, and if you step off the plate will still remain activated because the game considers it activated by default. And just do this until all is done and the beam is activated. Once the beam is activated, instead of activating the crystal, go slightly to the left at the edge of the arena, and behind the small pillar you will find a secret button that summons Astrid. So again, have your teammates take her down, and once she's down, go in, activate the button that controls the crystal barrier, take down the crystal, and congratulations, you just finished this event, and you should probably be somewhere around the 13-14 minute mark, or even 15 if you actually did it good enough. After this is done, head back through the tunnels, through the same portal you used to come here, and this is the time when you will lead your way towards the forge in the exact middle of the map. Again, you already know the principles over here, so just go inside and try to summon the Valkyrie first by taking the relics through the instability gates 4 times. So it doesn't matter if you take different relics, even one works just fine as long as you bring them 4 times through the barriers themselves. You can even have some of the party members bring 1, 2 or even 3 of the fragments back to the relic, while only 1 of the fragments is used to summon the Valkyrie itself. So this will shorten the time a little bit, because after finishing the Valkyrie, all that is left is to bring the last and final fragment to the relic, and this will expose the crystal and finish the event for you. From here, what we did is we headed to the castle event, and it's very important to do that because all of the rest of the events left are north of it, so we will continue in a line from this point on. Here you will want to have probably like 2 party members deal with the relics and the puzzles themselves, so open up each of the 2 gates by starting with the 2 weights that are on the outside and then grabbing the ones behind the barriers as they get deactivated. If you don't take too long with that, you can also squeeze in the Valkyrie in this location as long as you have at least like 11 or 12 minutes on your timer, so this means you're quite far ahead and still have plenty of time to finish all of the events, assuming you're not going to screw up from here on. So this is what I did. I just headed up at the top of the structure in the middle, the one that holds the crystal. I paid close attention to the 3 symbols over there, and these are the symbols that you obviously need to match up in order to summon the Valkyrie of this location. So go ahead, burn her down, and it wouldn't hurt to have a teammate to actually not attack the Valkyrie and instead deal with the puzzle itself to reveal the crystal, so you can take it down as soon as you finish the Valkyrie and not having to stay in there and waste more time to match up all of the symbols with all of the relics. So it's a matter of preference, but you will definitely save a lot of time if at least one of the party members just goes in and takes care of the symbols themselves. Once that is done, it's time for Diana's landing, and there's a teleporter that will bring you right next to it. So the best way to reach it and the fastest is to simply go back from where you came from in the beginning of this area, and on the left side through a cracked wall you will find a teleporter that brings you exactly on the beach. So go ahead and take that, and that will bring you next to the sphere cache in Diana's Landing event. So go in, finish this event. This is self-explanatory, just kill the waves of enemies up until the Fury, the name Fury, gets spawned. Take her down as well, but don't yet activate the 2 buttons on each side of the arena, and instead go to the main gateway towards the main road that leads up north and activate that button at the top that summons the secret Valkyrie. Once you do that, go in, take down the Valkyrie, and once you do that is the time when you can go in and actually activate the crystal itself. You will both get the extra points as well as finishing the event soon after taking down the Valkyrie, so all that remains from here on is to destroy the crystal, take up the loot, and head up north in the tunnels in the final event, which is the Sea of Takaro. Now I did cover this in the video that I made yesterday, so if you want to go over a more extensive guide, go ahead and check that one out. But even here it was actually quite simple. So what I did is I just took up the 3 weights. One of them was in the room on the southern wall, while the other 2 were inside the rooms protected by the barrier. So what I did is that I quickly grabbed the weight, went on the right side of the arena and placed it on the plate right outside of the room on the right. Then I headed up inside and grabbed the weight inside of there as well, and made my way back to the one in the middle. And from this point on, it activated the second room. I went in, repeated the same process again, and then brought in the final weight on just outside of the room on the left side, and this made it so that all of the pressure plates were used and activated. And from this point on, all that was left was to grab all of the echoes, 2 from the room, 1 on the outside on the southern wall, and then proceed through the inverted water tunnel at the top, place it in and expose the crystal, which meant that the event was finally over. So I destroyed the crystal because for some reason it didn't let me to summon the Valkyrie. I think they have changed that with the recent patch, and what this did is that it made the echoes to go back in their devices, and because I wasn't flight restricted anymore, I simply flown to each and every single one of these echoes, grabbed them up and brought them through the tunnel again to summon the Valkyrie. This meant that the 7th and final Valkyrie, Takaro, has been summoned. We took her down really fast, and with that we finished all of the main events in the arena. At this point we had like 300,000 score and a multiplier of 16. So this was the time when everybody split up and each and every single one of the party members went in their certain parts of the map to start completing the event. In my case, I started with the tunnels. First I took the bomb over here and placed it on the crystal. This is right next to the actual event itself, so I didn't have to go too far. Once I did that, I headed up towards the second tunnel that leads to Vera's room. There is a bunch of elementals over here that deal a lot of damage and also provide a lot of points, but there's also a bomb over there that you can take. So I quickly cleared them up so that they don't pose any threat to me if I take the bomb. Once I did that, I got quite a few points and then headed in, took the bomb and brought it to the crystal right before Vera's room, and there was some more nice points. From this point on, I went to the other tunnel leading away from Vera's room, and here is a big crystal with a huge laser beam that you need to use in order to take it down. Soloing this is actually quite easy. You don't need 2 players, contrary to popular belief. First, what you need to do is simply head up to the main controls. These are the ones on the right side, and these control the main device, so just activate it 2 times or interact with it 2 times to put it in position and then activate its power. And once you do that, it will just shoot up exactly where it needs to at that crystal over there for some really awesome points, and that is like 26,000 points, which is quite a lot. And from here on I headed towards the Trials of Might region because there is a time rune over here as well as a bomb and a lot of elementals to take care of. So first I took care of the elementals simply because if they shoot you they can detonate the bomb, and it took a little bit of time, but they do provide a ton of points. Once that was done, I headed towards the Crucible of Asteroid event, but on the right side behind the pillars there's going to be a bomb that you want to grab, and this is what you will use on the crystal at the beginning of the tunnel. So take it, put it back and bring it to the crystal, and you are going to be able to detonate it for some nice extra points. Once I did that, I went back through the tunnels. On the wall in the back is where you will find the time rune. This has actually been replaced compared to how it was previously, which was almost on the ceiling, making it really difficult to grab. What I did from here on is I simply headed back towards the end of the tunnel, and because I knew already that my party mates were dealing with the Grab It King, with the vault and with the other sphere caches, I went in the beginning of the route and started doing the first sphere cache, which was neglected up until this point. So I did that. It was really easy as the teleporter brought me underwater, so what I did is I just grabbed all 3 of the echoes one by one. I was lucky enough that the first one was in the water right next to me, while the other 2 were really up close to the Brittaheim event. So I took those as well, placed them in, and in the time required for the sphere cache to get activated, I simply headed north of it. What I did here is I grabbed the random device on the ground, headed back to the actual sphere cache again to grab the point, and then slightly south of it to activate the beach relic. And with close to 14 minutes left, about 700 or close to 700,000 score, I just went in and checked what my teammates did. So first of all, I paid attention to the time runes. I noticed that the first time rune was unused, so I went went in and grabbed it. I also went back and activated a bunch of other runes and killed a bunch of NPCs, and once the timer reached like 10 minutes or so, I just went into Vera and started attacking her, because at this point we had close to 1 million points, and up until this point nobody actually went in to attack Vera. So what I did is I started farming her, because I knew that most of the events and the enemies have been completed or dealt with, and I already had some of my party mates already clearing up their last finishing moves. So what I did is I started attacking Vera. Eventually my teammates started coming in, helped me out, and we took her out actually in no time, to the point that I believe we had more than 5 minutes left and Vera was already down. So this was 14 million or 14.5 million units, which meant 14,500 crystals. So that was quite a bit. It was a good score, not the biggest I had so far, but with randoms I can't really expect anything more. So a pretty good one. That is why I said you will want to do a Grandmaster 3 over here. Of course, at some points you might have seen that I had quite a few legendaries dropping for me. I believe in this run I had like 3 legendaries dropping, but generally speaking, Grandmaster 3 is so amazing for legendaries, for consistent legendary drops, that I have stopped completely doing any other type of content in the game, and it was definitely beneficial for basically my entire setup and all of my javelins. But yeah, this is all there is to the route itself. Of course, you can pull in way more than this if you have an organized party. But anyway, this has been my route. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on it. Also subscribe and activate the notification bell for even more Anthem content. And I will see you guys next time.